everybody says fall, the leaves, but can't do it. I go spring. I like spring.
Whoa, wait a minute.
It's crazy.
Spring.
People hate
that
spring.
Is the hottest take that we've ever had. Spring in New England? Oh, wow. The school bell. Nice touch.
No, it's supposed to be a fire alarm.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it sounds like a school bell.
I actually was getting ready to take my headphones off.
From Maine's cold coast to Connecticut pride, Vermont's green hills, take it all in stride. Massachusetts traffic, we grip and we grind with a Dunkin' iced coffee and no peace of mind. So New England stands up proud. Chowder thick, we shout it loud. From Fenway Chance to Rhode Island tide, New Hampshire's cry, live free or die. So New England with Ian Brownhill.
Good friggin' morning from New England, folks. Welcome back to episode 91 of the So New England podcast. I'm your host, Ian, joined by my co-host, RJ, and you guys know Vinny Chen's behind the lens. We got a good one for you today. RJ, who do we have in studio?
When it comes to humor, everybody knows that top-tier humor comes from a good old dad joke. There's just something about the delivery, the punchline, and who it comes from that soars like an old-school bottle rocket. See what I did there? You'll get it when... Yeah, okay. Teacher by day and part-time content creator at night, our guest today nails the dad humor and tons more. With over 100,000 followers and counting between TikTok and Instagram, if you've been to his page, seen his videos, or been sent his reels, you are sure to smile big and laugh loud. We welcome, holding it down for Leominster, Massachusetts, Mr. Bottle Rocket, a.k.a. Tony Serafini.
How does that feel?
Wow, that felt good.
You thought that your school year was over with kids, but here we are bringing the same energy as your 8th graders.
I had no idea that was coming.
I should have taken 8th grade again, probably, but here we are.
This is how you should walk into your classroom the start of the next next school year.
I think about that a lot. I think about like having a walkout song, but I never got that far. This is actually my first day of vacation.
Is it really?
Yeah.
And you're spending it with us. I'm so sorry about that.
Things are not looking
so
great.
Tomorrow's your first day of vacation.
Because we're going to put you to work.
Yep.
Because we want to know the story. Teacher by day, content creator by night. You're like the Batman of the social media world, so to speak.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So how did this all start?
So this started, let's see, back in 2000. Let me think here. Well, Vine. Whenever Vine came around, I jumped on that right away, which was, I'm not sure, 2000. Anybody know?
I was like 11, 12.
Like 10 to 12, 13.
Yeah, because there's only about like a 2 or 3 year period, right?
Yeah, because I'm thinking it ended properly right around 16.
June 2012.
June 2012.
That's when it started?
Good. Yeah.
All right, so that's how long I've been here. But before that, it was Twitter. So Twitter was a little bit... I was active on Twitter, and then Vine just kind of jumped in there, and then we started making silly 6-second videos, and here we are, years later, on Instagram and TikTok, and not so much YouTube, but yeah. It did start just a silly like stop motion Lego video that kind of blew up, but it was I didn't really expect much from it. It was just kind of fun to do with the kids, and
yeah,
and then it just got big.
It happens quick.
Yeah, it happened fast.
Now, were you always an entertainer or someone that wanted to like grab the attention of folks with joke and humor or acting and kind of being like that? Or what inspired you to be like, oh, this is something that I want to do? Like jumping on Vine is quite a big task.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I really wasn't that much. Just kind of happened. I think I did a Jay-Z video that was shared by probably someone famous. I don't remember. And I was like, oh, I think I could do this. And that went viral. And I look back at the camera work, and it was like shaky. And I was in the camera was the video itself was just low quality, and it was terrible. And I'm like, why did we like that? Why do people like that? It's really weird. And then somebody's like, you have a really knack for like telling a story in 6 seconds. You got the beginning, middle, and end. You should keep doing that. And I'm like, all right. And I blew up I think I almost hit 1 million on that one. before they closed down, which was, a lot for that time.
Absolutely. Because consumption was definitely not what it is today
Right.
with social media.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's also quite funny to retroactively think about the fact that Vine was so short in the video span itself. And now today, like TikTok started as 30 seconds to a minute, then Reels went from 15 seconds to 30 to a minute. And now we're all the way back to being like 5 seconds is like the attention span and the retention from everybody. It's almost as if the Vine practice is probably the most suitable way to go viral nowadays.
Maybe they had it right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because exactly. I was saying like the students were locked in on that because it's 6 seconds. Everybody was. It's just scrolling through. You can watch all those videos so fast, and it was fun. So.
And how long have you been a teacher?
Since 2000.
Oh, okay. So you've been at it for a while.
So yeah, I'm getting up there. 26 years. I just finished my 26th year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's quite the number.
Yep. Yeah.
And what class do you teach?
So I teach 8th grade civics, and I love it. Actually, it's weird now because of everything that's going on in the world, but
yeah,
I do love it. And I had a choice at one time. Do you want to teach ancient civilization? Do you want to do civics, current events? I'm like, I'm doing civics, current events. I like to teach government. So
very entertaining, I can imagine, for 8th grade, because it's a period of time where everyone's minds are very unsure of what direction they're going to head. So you're influencing them in the best way and teaching them in the best way on what direction they decide they want to go.
Yeah. I think I just throw it all out there, and I basically say, I'm not teaching you to be either, right, left, whatever. I'm just throwing it out there. You guys make your own decision. And I have fun with that. But yeah, it's great. And at one point I was like, should I just do the content creation full time and then I'm like, no, I really like my summers off and I like getting paid through the summer.
Yeah.
So I'll do both. I'll kind of dip my toe in and keep my toe dipped and do the full-time teaching thing. So
would you say that it's a easier balance?
Yeah. So I will go weeks, months without coming up with like a good idea. And then I'll hit a groove where I'm like firing out videos. I'm like, yeah, this is good. But the kids honestly keep me in the loop with what's going on, what's trending, what's the language and the lingo and the slang. And I think that's helped a lot.
Yeah.
And having 4 kids also has helped as well. But the kids keep me young. So I like that.
No, are you born and raised Massachusetts?
Yeah. Yep. Born, raised. Well, we floated around a little bit when I was growing up. My dad was looking for jobs. And so we went down to Florida, came back, went back to Florida, came back, worked. But it's mostly been Massachusetts. And I grew up, I don't tell many people this, I grew up a Dan Marino fan.
Oof.
Yeah, because I did spend time in Florida. So
right.
Dan Marino was the man, and I just like Dan Marino. And yeah.
Yeah, my father's a Dolphins fan, so I have been hearing about Dan Marino for a majority of my life, and the group text I have with him and my uncle that all live in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Florida area is always, I'm sending them Tom Brady pictures and videos and reminding them that he's the greatest ever. And their reply is always like, Dan Marino was the best. And it's always a good argument and a good chuckle for the group text.
I still like Dan Marino. I know he's kind of a dink, but I like him still. But yeah.
You like who you like.
Yeah.
And how about school? Where'd you end up going to college? Local?
Fitchburg State. Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Local. Yep. And I didn't know what I wanted to do really. I went to a community college and floated around and got terrible grades. And then I had this really cool professor who was teaching history, and he brought everything to life. He taught with no notes, nothing. He just walked in with a briefcase, put it down, never opened it. And he just taught from his memory, history. And I was like, this guy makes everything really cool. And I wonder if I could do that. So I mentioned it to my father. My dad kind of scoffed at it. You don't make any money. You shouldn't do that. You should make money. I'm like, but I really want to do it. And my mom was like, you should do what you want to do. So I went to Fitchburg for teaching history, and I got 4.0s and did really well. So I tell my kids now, don't just go to college because everybody's going to college. go to college if you know what you want to do. So.
And do you
good advice.
fly by the seat of your pants too? Do you just come in with an empty briefcase and just let it go, or what?
No, I'm not. The guy was a genius. I don't know how he did it, but I prepare for everything, and I have to like know what's coming.
It's fascinating when you have people. I was not the student for that kind of professor. I'm more of a visual person, but the one class I ever genuinely did bad in, it had nothing to do with the teacher himself. It was just how he taught, but he just like that. And actually Justin, our mutual friend who I went to school with, loves this man. And he was so smart though. Just like everything you just said, would just come in, what's up everybody, and just start going. But he was also the kind of professor, like when it was lunchtime, he'd come in and instead of sitting in the faculty teacher lounge, he'd be like sitting at a random table with kids, like hanging out, just eating his lunch. Like he was just so cool.
Very
But
cool.
yeah, it was like same concept, makes you want to like be part in the discussion and things like that. Like, which I always was. I just didn't really understand it.
Right. I mean, I like it because he was telling a story, but he's also teaching.
Right.
So it's like if you can kind
That's
of
so
do
cool.
that with kids, tell the story, but you're actually teaching what happened. I think that's, and also, I mean, who remembers their middle school teachers? The only ones I remember are the ones that I liked, that were nice. I don't remember anybody else. I remember 2 women teachers, and they were really nice to me and kind of funny. So I'm like, yeah, I remember them.
Yeah.
But everybody else, I don't remember their names, so.
I just had the great fortune of doing the commencement speech at my high school.
I saw
which
that.
is very ironic because, as they can attest to, not the person that you would have ever anticipated giving that speech.
Really?
But I was very grateful to be there. It was awesome. But I had that very nervous feeling where I was like, I don't remember any of my teachers really,
How
except
many
for the
were
ones
still there? Not saying you're old.
No, yeah, there was probably once that people started coming up to me and saying, "Oh my God, how are you?" I was like, "Oh my God, okay, I remember this face and I remember who you are. The name is blanking, but I know you were my teacher."
Yeah.
There had to have been at least 7 or 8 of them. So
That's
there was
cool.
still quite a few.
That's cool.
But in high school, it's wishy-washy because there were so many different classes that you take, and we had 6 periods in a day for us,
Something
5
like
or
that.
6 periods. So
Yeah, 2
it was quite a
blocks,
bit,
so-
2 blocks, something like that. Any Hoosers, as a teacher in New England, what is the vibe like? Because you're in, where is it, Leominster, right?
I teach in Fitchburg,
Oh, you teach
which
in
is
Fitchburg.
right next door.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't really get any of the Boston attitude type of folk. You get
No.
more of the Boston people would say Fitchburg is Western Mass.
Right. Yeah. And I go through that a lot. Like for us, Western Mass is Gardner. I don't know if you guys heard of Gardner.
Yes.
But we call that the gateway to the lost cities. So anything past Gardner, you're on your own. I don't know what I consider us. Like I lump us in with Worcester, I guess. I always tell people I'm from just outside Worcester, and I go, oh yeah, Worcester, yeah.
They always
Which
know
is
where
kind
that
of
is.
true, 20 minutes away. So the only Boston influence we get really is new students coming in.
That
you
have
know,
moved out.
Hey, I'm new to the system. I'm coming from Dorchester, or, Boston. And they're like, oh, okay, here we go. So,
And
About to get live.
yeah.
and of your 26 years, do you feel like there is something that continues to drive and push the education that draws you into wanting to return for another year after year?
I think every year's new. So I get excited. Like I'm obviously burnt out right now and I'm like, I'm done. But as the summer goes, I get kind of excited to start over again with a new set of kids and talk about current events and what's going on with the government. And we have an 8th grade trip at the end of each year that I build up toward. And this is what you're going to see. You're going to see this and you're going to see that. And yeah, I mean, it's not like you're showing up to the office every day. It's the same old thing. It's brand new every day. So
Right.
that's what's fun about it.
And there's a different energy in each student and each class, and
Yep.
there's different
Absolutely.
conversation because students are going to feel different in each one.
And you start to see as 8th graders go, you start to see a little bit of interest with politics, and they start asking questions that you didn't really think you were going to get. And you're like, oh, okay, this person might be into, history, or might be a good candidate to be a teacher as they get older, things like that. So that's cool to see. And then sometimes kids are just like, I don't want to deal with any of this stuff. So unfortunately, but it is nice when kids will email me later and be like, hey, did you hear, about this podcast, about, this thing happening? I'm like, no, tell me about it. And so they retain some of that stuff and they want to talk about it later when they get to high school, which is great. So
it must be a fascinating experience for you going from the early 2000s and our exposure to news outlets and where everyone was getting their information, which for myself personally growing up, my information would be coming from my mother's opinions, and she would enlighten me as to things that were going on and why they were happening. But now you've got students that are chronically online and they're being overexposed to so much information from all over the world, not just the US. What has that been like for you to try and like navigate those waters?
Yeah, they get their news from TikTok.
Yeah.
And teaching media literacy is huge in my curriculum, and like weeding through the fake news and weeding through the AI. And I always tell them, you guys have got your work cut out for you, because, and I compare it to my father who's, pushing 80. And I'm like, don't be like my father, where you're going to share something before vetting it and figuring out where it comes from. And is there any bias, or is it real, and all these things. Whereas my father will see, Joe Biden doing something and he'll share it without even looking at the source. And so I use him as like a kind of comparison, and say, you got to know where these videos are coming from. You got to know who made this video, who they made it for, and things like that. But they're not watching the news like we read the paper a little bit. I watched the news in passing when I was growing up, but yeah, they're getting it from TikTok. And I'm like, as long as it's a good source, as long as you're watching a decent news source, I'm all for it. You're going to scroll, get your news. I'm good. I'm
trying to think of who I've seen, like some popular TikTok creators are like Dylan Page. You ever seen him? He's like he was actually at the Norway game. I saw that for randomly the other day, but I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's like a very famous, does like the YouTube style where it's like, hey guys, here's some breaking news that's going on. And he's got, he and Daily Mail and that's how I found out about, that's how I found out about him. They were doing like a back and forth because one of them had like 19 million followers. The other one had like 19.1, and they were like going back and forth. And that's how I came across my For You page forever ago. And I think, you know how it is, you watch one and then over time they'll continue to introduce this person to your page.
Yep.
But you must feel a tremendous amount of pressure in today's, I don't want to say today's climate, right? Because as I'm sure you can probably attest to, the climate has quite literally always had its ups and downs through history. It's just that with social media, it's a very different type of climate or exposure to the climate. But you must feel a tremendous amount of pressure because now there's younger kids, or kids younger and younger, that are having these opinions and that are exploring things at a younger age with more thought, more consideration, and just the ability to be so, I don't want to say different or free, but the expression from the youth is a lot different than when I was young. When I was in 8th grade, I didn't pay attention to the news at all. I hadn't a care in the world. It didn't bother me. It wasn't anything I considered. And now I feel like I'm meeting kids younger and younger that are very vocal about their feelings and their emotions towards a lot of things.
Yeah.
So
I don't even think we had, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think did we have civics?
No.
Did you take it?
No, that's why when you said it, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that numbers?
Civics is new to the curriculum. Baker signed it into Massachusetts curriculum about 6 years ago. It's social studies. So instead of looking at, geography or just a textbook about government, they bring the civics into it, and we do a civics project at the end of the year, like where they go out and they try to make some change in the community. It's really cool. It's kind of hands-on. So it's less workbook stuff, but more like action civics.
Hands-on.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been a fun class, especially because we didn't have the outlets. Like social media wasn't a thing yet still when we were.
No, we just had these like catastrophic events that would happen randomly on a Tuesday. And then for the rest of the week, we were like kind of in school, but out of school. And all the teachers were like,
what do we do?
And I'm like, does this mean recess is extended and we get free lunch? Cool, I'm in. You know what I mean? It was just like, all right, another trauma. Cool, love it. Millennial.
Yeah. Speaking of trauma, I was in 6th grade, I think, when not to be a downer. And the Challenger exploded. Yeah. And we were in school, and a kid was back when they had erasers. He was like cleaning the erasers. And he comes running in. He's like, the space shuttle blew up. And my teacher's like, all right, relax. Stop stirring everybody up. And she went out, and we looked out the window, and sure enough, we saw the clouds of smoke, and it was like, oh my God.
Oh, right. Because you were in Florida.
I was in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I tell
That's
that
incredibly
story.
traumatizing.
Yeah, that's
holy smokes.
I mean, I was 5th, 6th grade. I was like, oh, that's crazy. That's so sad. But I mean, and then within 10 minutes, the kids are already telling jokes about it. So it's like, some things never change.
Yeah.
So
you were technically a social studies teacher for the first 20 years of your career then, and now you've then switched to the civics?
So actually, I taught language arts. So I taught writing. My certification is humanities, which is writing and social studies, history. And when I applied in 2000, I was going for anything. And they said, we got a reading position. Do you want that? We don't have social studies. And I was like, I'll take it. I was starving. I had no money. So I jumped into that. And then I just kind of got comfortable and taught writing for like 19 years. And then when someone retired, I'm like, I want to do that now because I wanted to do that 19 years ago and you guys didn't hire me. And
you earned your stripes at that point. They're like, sure, whatever you'd like.
She swapped me over, and I've been happy ever since.
There you go.
So
fantastic. Now I got to ask, do your students know about the social media following and what you do?
Yeah, they do. They're not really into it as much. Like I don't push TikTok as much. I'm like more Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah.
For old people, and they are not on there. They just they look at TikTok and stuff like that, and they're like, mister, you should be posting more on TikTok. And I'm like, I don't even watch, I do not consume TikTok at all. I consume Reels, but I don't look at TikTok. I never open it. I'll post, close it, and you could threaten me, whatever. I wouldn't even know what's going on. I don't check the comments or anything. And so they don't really care about any of the other stuff except for TikTok. And Snapchat, which I don't even use. So,
yeah, Snapchat was one that kind of became re-popular in the influencer space because of their monetization program.
Yep.
Yeah. So a lot of people have been like, "Oh, you should be on Snapchat." I was like, Snapchat came out when I was in high school, so like that was really cool then. But it's not. I'm 34. I'm like, what am I gonna do if anyone that I know that needs a photo of my face, I will just let them know here comes a photo of my face.
That's definitely the one that stayed in that times. Like everyone grows out of it, but Snapchat stays in that like.
But there's people who are doing very well as creators on that platform, especially financially for monetization purposes.
Yeah. My own kids use it, and I'm like, I'm 50 years old. I'm not going to be on Snapchat. That's a red flag. So that's, I kind of let that one go, let that one die. But yeah, the kids know about it. And I tell them basically when I'm at school, I treat it like it's, that's my job. We're not going to talk about social media. You can ask me questions after school. When the bell rings, you want to talk about videos. I don't shoot videos with the kids, but if you want to shoot a video, whatever, I'll do a TikTok dance with you. Not during school hours. I don't want to do, because as a parent, I'd be pretty mad if the teacher's in there shooting videos with the kids while they're supposed to be teaching,
Right.
So whenever I do anything, and I do a lot in the classroom, I'll edit in kids' voices and I'll edit in sound, in classroom sound, but I'm in an empty room. So kind of covers my butt.
There you go.
And I don't, I don't swear or anything. So the superintendent, I'm pretty sure the superintendent knows, because he did make a comment once. He's like, I made a comment at a meeting. He's like, what are you going to go make a video about this now? And I was like, and so I'm like, oh shoot, I think he follows me. So, so I got to keep that on the DL. But yeah, no, I play it safe.
When you see other teachers, do you feel like it's productive when they do that stuff? Like involving their students? Like, do you think there's like a threshold where it's like, okay, too far? Like you shouldn't have gone that far? Or like, hey, you're doing Wordle, like having a good time. Like that's cool.
No, I don't judge. I mean, I don't judge them. I think sometimes you don't know. Sometimes they might have the permission of the parents, The only kids I ever put in a video is someone I know personally, like a family member who I'm like, I'm going to use your kid in this video. Is that cool? Yeah, that's fine. And I'll bring them in after school and we'll shoot the video like it's in real time. But I think it's a great tool, and I think more teachers should use it in the classroom. And I do follow a few teachers who like, hey, look at this lesson I just did with the kids, and it's really fun and engaging. And I think it's great. I would love if my school had its own TikTok account, and I think they might, but I know they have an Instagram. I would love it if they, had a bigger Instagram and things like that. And if they do it, that's cool too. But I don't really want to, I guess, it's probably a bad look if they're in there shooting videos and making, content while they're supposed to be teaching, but
Teach their own, right?
yeah, exactly.
I think it's probably pretty important for these schools to have more of a social media presence, because that's what the youth is looking for. That's how they get their information. That's how parents get their information too. So
Absolutely.
sporting events or activations for the school that are like, I forget what they call those, but when they're trying to raise money for the school events.
Fundraisers?
Yeah, like fundraisers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Probably a really cool tool to utilize. But
Absolutely.
now, is there a weird tie-in for you I'm going to tie in your social media and your teaching. How has the AI situation been for you in your classroom? Not because I know you touched upon it with getting like sourceful information from the news, but also just in general with the development of ChatGPT and all of the AI programs that there are now.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the kids are they're using it constantly. So what we do is we have to come up with content that specifically is a little bit higher level thinking, something that you can't just take a picture and have it answer it, because it happens all the time. So it's like, all right, let's create something right now without your phone. And I mean, next year, by the way, they're going to ban the phones, I guess, in Massachusetts.
Oh boy.
We'll see how that goes.
That's going to be a nightmare.
But yeah, that's going to help a lot.
Yeah.
We don't really have a lot of homework, so that's kind of out of the curriculum now. So we'll see. I mean,
damn, I would have had A's and B's if it wasn't for homework.
I know.
Homework crushed me.
Yeah, it's such a waste.
I got out of school and I was like, bro, I'm done.
Yeah.
I gave you my 6 hours. I've got ADHD. I need to go play and run and be with my friends.
And I see my kids come home, they're exhausted because they held it together so long in school. And my youngest has got ADHD, and she comes home and she just wants to explode. And I'm like, I'm not going to make you do a worksheet. That doesn't make sense. Like,
I feel like when it came to homework, and this, you can cut this if you want. Just spitballing here. Because this is more of my
famous quote from RJ.
My opinion.
Every take by RJ. You can cut this.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Sometimes I get going and I'm like, oh, that was stupid. But I've always thought homework to a certain degree was unnecessary. Like you spend 6, 7, 8 hours there. But like, for certain things, a little bit more practice. Because I feel like when I was younger, I was a good speller because my mom would sit me down and actually have me spell out words. It's like, hey, we're going to spell these out 3 times. You're going to do it once. We're going to take an hour. You're going to do it again. You're going to take an hour. You're going to do it again. And then to the point where I used to get so mad because I just wanted to write them 3 times like everybody else. That was my practice. Yeah. So like, have you noticed the benefits to that? Like the less homework, besides the fact that because we were talking about, when I'm done, I'm done. I want to come home. I want to take my shoes off. I want to go play in the dirt. I'm going to run around. I'm going to do kid stuff. Right. Or I want to go to basketball practice, or I want to go do not school things. Yeah. Yeah. Because do you feel like that's more like modern, like better for the kids, especially nowadays with all the ADD, ADHD, especially from the phones, unplugging? Yep.
Especially unplugging, and the fact that all these kids are playing like travel ball now, and their practices until 10 o'clock at night. And it's like, oh my gosh. So I'm not going to ask anybody to do homework. The only homework I would have them do is finish what they're doing in class, because it needs to be, done tomorrow. So it's like, if you're not done with this now, bring it home, get it done, and then bring it back tomorrow. But I'm not going to give them a worksheet on the way out the door just so I can check them off tomorrow as doing it, because I think that's a waste of time. Because they already did it in school. Why are we going to make them do it at home too? So, but the old school way, the repetition works still, because I learned a lot. I learned the word a lot because I had to write it out 100 times during probably a lunch reset or like a lunch detention or something. And I've never misspelled a lot, since I did that. So it still works. But
for your content, where does your inspiration come from? Do you pull from work and the experiences that you have there?
Oh man, I pull probably from work. So it's like work, family, and like 80s movies, like Chevy Chase, like that. Those 80s icons were like, that was where my humor came from. And so I did a lot of the old, silly dad tropes, like, forgetting things and the wife yells at you or whatever. I used to do that a lot. And now it's just whatever comes to mind. Usually it's, trending, try to take a trend and put my own spin on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get a lot of stuff at school. Sometimes I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, oh, that'd be a good video. And I'll put it on a little notepad and then put it in my pocket and forget about it. And
and then crumble it up and then ask everyone in the house where it is.
Exactly. So it's
Great
little
video.
things like that I like, oh my God, that would be a great video. Like literally things that you live in, like life.
Exactly.
Basically.
And that's why I was curious, because as I've consumed your content over the years, I'm always like, this feels like incredibly relatable stream of thought. The one that you did about getting a small break in the New England weather to do your yard work. And it's incredibly true. You look out the window the minute the rain stops, and every dad who's takes care of their lawn and their home is outside immediately. Then it rains and they're back in having a garage beer, and then they're back out.
And I came up with that idea literally in Lowe's. And I told my wife, I'm like, you got to shoot this. I'm going to be running. God bless her. She just goes with it. She has no idea what's going on because she doesn't do social media. So like
Good for
she
her.
does, like she's on there, but she doesn't consume it like we do. And
Right.
She doesn't care. So I'll be like, you just stand here and watch me run by with this cart of, I don't know what was in it, like mulch or something. She's like, okay. and we shot it. And then like I told her I was coming to a podcast. She doesn't know what, she's like, what? I'm going to do a podcast with my friend Ian. Who's Ian?
Yeah.
I'm like, just somebody from online. Like,
You're making friends online?
she's like, you're going to Providence? Can you text me when you get there safely? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, I'm here. I'm in the parking lot. I'm safe. But it's stuff like that. Like,
That's so
I'll
funny.
probably come up with an idea about parking or something, you
Right.
know, and then I'll think about it and put it down on a piece of paper or something, or a voice note. I don't even know. I got notes everywhere. So
Now with the content you've put out and you've gotten some pretty good brand deals. Have you done some traveling with this at all for work?
I used to, with Vine, we did a little bit of traveling. I went to LA a couple times. Not so much recently. The brand deals I get, like I've been lucky enough to do like middle-aged men brand deals. Like at one point I got the Imodium and I was like, I got that email. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm going to do Imodium. I freaking love this stuff. Like, and somebody's like, you're going to do, my wife was like, a diarrhea pill? Yeah, everybody gets diarrhea. You know, of course I'm doing it. And so right away I'm thinking about ideas, because you know how it goes. You got to pitch them an idea, and it's like, oh God. So I had to come up with a couple, and I was like, you know what about this? And she's like, that's a good one. So I got that one. And then there was another one I did. I think it was Preparation H. And again, my friends are like, that's a hemorrhoid cream. I'm like, yeah, I know. I don't care. It's fine. We use this stuff.
Yeah. Why are we not acting like we all have hemorrhoids right now, guys?
Right. Well, for the record, I've never had a hemorrhoid. But,
Same.
Thank you, Preparation H.
You gotta say, the number one consumer right here.
Whoa, hey.
there we go.
Sorry.
Get the name on the
Tell you
board.
these things in secret.
Sorry.
Golly.
So I guess I wouldn't be that I have no shame, but it's like, it's something that I stand behind and I use. So it works, you know? So someone said, you need to get a Depends ad. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I did tag Depends, and they never opened my tag or DM. So
Dang. Which is quite funny because Depends has quite young models on the cover of
Yeah,
their.
they do.
It's never anyone that actually, well, I mean, maybe they are, not to offend anyone, but it's just,
yeah,
it's like a 20-something-year-old in a Depends smiling like, I'm like, I don't,
Yeah.
maybe,
I've never-
but
If I look like that when I'm supposed to be peeing my pants,
yeah.
I'm going to be a
Yeah.
pretty happy guy.
I don't know. I've never.
Maybe
looked
they're
at-
trying to win over the demographic. Like, we got to break into the younger generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Convince them that peeing their pants is the way to go with Depends.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right. Although
Hopefully,
I
if
don't
you
know
see this
what
Depends, here's your new cover model right here.
I don't know what I would have done for content. I guess I would have crossed that bridge when I got to it, but I would have had to do some brainstorming.
Peeing your pants as a teacher.
Yeah, maybe.
Pee your
Yeah.
pants.
No
and
time to
then-
take a
when
break
you're-
when you're molding the minds of the youth.
When you're in the middle of that important lesson,
That's it.
you know.
You got to let it rip. Modium, and you got your Depends to catch everything coming out.
Oh, they sent me a ton of what was it? The Preparation H wipes. I a fat stack of Preparation H wipes that my brother-in-law was like, sent me a text. He's like, dude, can I get a couple of those? And
Hey, So New England listeners, we're going to take a brief break to let you know about something amazing going on right here in the local Providence, Rhode Island community. The Family Fun Fest is back and better than ever. Attorney Rob Levine, your heavy hitter, I know you know who he is. He is going to be giving away over 1,000, that's right, 1,000 free backpacks packed with school supplies to kids and families who need them most. So come join us August 22nd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the India Point Park, and please bring your family because it's going to be a great time, and even better, it's free. Come enjoy live music, food trucks, a petting zoo, and more. So don't miss Rob Levine's Family Fun Fest event where your heavy hitter steps up to bat for the community. Obviously, we've been friends online for quite some time, consuming your content, but I've never had the chance to actually sit down with you like we are now. And your energy is a very calm, relaxed, and it's quite funny that you're teaching such a intense, important school subject, but you're also just kind of this jokester online.
Yeah.
How do you balance it? Like where is that just naturally who you are? You're just like, I care about this, but I also love to tell jokes, because on the surface, most people would think that those two wouldn't align.
Right.
You would think like a civics would be like a very serious, not to say that you're not,
Right.
but you would look at that individual as someone who is incredibly serious and doesn't talk about depends and having diarrhea.
Yeah, no, summertime bottle rocket's totally different.
Let it loose.
Yeah, it's awesome. No, it is, it's like you got to wear, you go to work and you're a different person. You know? It's like, that's how it goes. And a lot of the kids are like, I want to get that teacher. He's the one that's famous on TikTok. He seems pretty cool. I'm like, you ain't seen nothing, because I am not that cool, and you're not going to like my class. Like, I don't just sit in there and shoot videos, bud. So, it's totally different.
Yeah.
But it is real. I do have that connection with the kids. It's a little bit relatable. So they do like that. They can feel comfortable and things like that. I'm not like the old fossil teacher that sits at the desk and doesn't do anything, reads a newspaper and gives them a worksheet. It's not like that.
Right.
I'm sure it gives them a little bit of ease as well when it comes to whether it's like signing up for your class. I don't know how it works at your school, but to know that having social media being like, for lack of a better term, the cool teacher. Like, oh, he's on social media, so like he's got to be fun. I can be relaxed. I can, from a kid's perspective, because like you said, when you have that one teacher, you might be a little timid.
Yeah.
You don't know yet,
Yeah.
but you have a good reputation like yours, and they're like, all right, yeah, that's pretty cool. Does that make you feel good at least?
Yeah, the second that I can like say something that they say or that they know about, they're like, wait, you know about that? Or you know that word? Or like, I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
6, 7.
Yeah, like 6, 7 or something. I'll sneak something in and I'll do this. Like, and they'll be like, what? Like, how does he know what that is? Or something. That's huge now, but all these other little things, like that kind of breaks the ice, so to speak. And they can't, sometimes I'll say it and I'll just keep going, and did he just say that? Did he just say 6, 7 or yeet? Or I'm trying to think of like an old or a new slang. And I'll just work it into the lesson and just keep going. So they'll kind of throw them for a loop.
Don't make me yeet this eraser across the room.
Did you just yeet or something? Like I threw something away once and I was like Kobe or something, and I don't remember. And I said something different though. It was a newer one. Oh, I can't remember what it was. I was based on some video. So I'll sneak some video references in that have gone viral, and they'll appreciate that. So it does break the ice a little bit.
Makes them feel easy too. Because what year did they start? And this is going to date me a little bit. Did the kids start like going to more than one classroom in a day?
High school. No, I'm sorry. Middle school, right?
So sixth grade?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Because you got like math, social studies, or civics.
Yeah.
Do you still,
science and ELA,
science.
language arts. Yeah. So they go to they have 4 different teachers.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was tough back in the day.
I know.
I don't miss it.
One thing that's funny is that the kids always say when they get older, they want to be a professional basketball player or a streamer or YouTuber. And I'm like, you guys, do you realize how hard it is to get into any of those? And I don't want to pee in your Cheerios, but to be name one person that's come out of our area that's gone to the, NBA or, NFL or something. We did have Noah Gray is from Leominster, but and I can tell them flat out, like, it's very hard. Have a backup plan.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm like, look at me. I'm online, but I'm not making enough money to not teach you guys. All right. So you got to have a backup plan. Don't just say, I'm going to be a streamer. I'm going to be a streamer. That's all I hear.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool.
That's the new thing.
And you can speak on this, but you kind of guest spoke in a classroom in college of how to do
I've
social media.
Guest spoken at a few marketing classes over at URI and Rhode Island College, as well as just some marketing.
Did you go to school for marketing?
No, never went to school.
Okay.
I mean, I tried it a few times after high school, but
a
few different things, never really stuck to anything, never really landed on something that I was really passionate and enjoyed. Kind of worked odds and ends jobs and then wanted to get back into the acting world and wound up on TikTok during COVID. It was like the perfect storm, all the stars aligned at the exact moment.
I was going to ask you offline, but like, what was your breakthrough? Was it TikTok?
Yeah, TikTok was a breakthrough.
Probably a video went bonkers. And
it snowed, the video where it snowed on Halloween.
Flip-flops
The flip-flops.
Yeah.
And I was like, the slushy's like a Moe's burrito over at Cumbies, and
Isn't
I tried
it funny that you can go back and pinpoint that one thing as like, here I am.
Yeah,
it's all because of this one thing.
Yeah. And I told that story while I was giving the keynote speech, was like, I had this one particular video go viral, but I need to be very clear here that what I'm doing, I am in the top 1% of people who do this for a living, where I'm actually making a living off of this full time. And I've got a good following, crazy numbers to me, but I'm also in the bottom 1% of creators who are doing this that have a big following. Most people who do this full time have 10, 15, 20, 30 million followers.
Yep.
And while my TikTok is my largest platform, my Instagram is now my most successful platform. So the positioning of it has fluctuated quite a bit. Year over year, I've got some better years than others. But at the end of the day, for me, I've only been able to do this because it was like luck of the draw.
Right.
And I used to spend a lot of time in the mental health, like motivational space. And there's so many business owners who are like, F your excuses. You got to lock in. Don't ever let someone tell you no. And I was like, yes. And I was like, nothing is working. I'm doing all of the things. And that's not to say that there aren't some truths to what these gentlemen were saying, but I'm also like, okay, but you also invented the computer. Right. You also invented the shoe. You invented what hats are. So those are one of one type of things. Yeah. You can't really go and tell everyone. So I say all of that to bring it back in and say that my passion for entertainment led me down a particular path, but the perfect storm of COVID and TikTok being a brand new app and me being one of one in the space at the time for TikTok specifically, because I give Fitzy credit all the time for being the OG of New England creators. I was the only one at my age that was making New England related content at that very specific moment that went viral. And now everyone's in the space and there's millions of New England creators and there's a ton of people doing similar style content to what I do, but I was just the perfect storm.
Because
so
you almost have to be first.
Yeah.
And I tell the kids that you're not first. And it's now, did you go, was it Musically when you got into it or was it TikTok?
It was TikTok. It was TikTok.
Yeah. We kind of missed that.
Yeah.
When TikTok kind of came around for us.
Yeah.
I mean, most of our friend group kind of I only have it because of him. Yeah.
Said yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does. Even some of our friends, even though they know I'm on it, they still don't even have one.
Yeah, they just
same. Yeah.
You have to screen record just to send them shit.
Yep, exactly.
Stuff.
But I know I looked down on Musically. I was like, this is so stupid. These kids are freaking, they're lip syncing. There's no talent. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And then it
Nothing
shifted
original.
to TikTok, and I'm like, I'm still not doing it. I almost like boycotted it.
Yeah.
And then I had some friends from Vine back in the day were like, dude, you got to get on there. You get crazy numbers. I'm like, I'm not doing TikTok. I'm too old for that. I don't want to do another app. You got to do it. It's so easy. And so I like started it and I got, a few like 20,000 or something. But you got to be you got to be first and you got to be lucky and you got to be kind of good.
Right. It was the perfect storm. Luck is a huge factor in it. And that's always what I try and harp on is I'm never going to tell someone they can't do something. I'm always going to tell someone to be outside of your comfort zone, in your box, take the risk, go all in, try something that you're interested in, never say no, but also remember that it takes a ton of luck. It is not just a work ethic. It is not just commitment. It is not just the routine that you've been sold. Those are incredibly important factors so that you are prepared when your luck strikes. But if you're not doing those things when your luck happens, you won't be ready to capitalize. So I was doing the things, but then my luck happened. And that's really all it comes down to. Yeah. And a lot of successful people have stories like that turning point isn't talked about enough. He and I have spoken about a lot with Chris Pratt. Yeah. Very famous actor. His story was that he was at a restaurant and a director just happened to see him and he got this very random break. So here's someone that was pursuing acting forever. And it took one time and he could have called out of that shift. Yeah. He could have not gotten that table, but when the stars align, they do.
That's wild.
Jim, Jim from The Office, whose name
Halpert.
Yeah. Halpert. I'm thinking, what is his actual name right now?
Krasinski.
Thank you. John Krasinski. He interviewed for Dwight. And the night that he was going to move home from New York City back to his parents' house, he got the call that they're going to make him Jim.
Yeah.
And it's like
because his mom
the perfect storm.
To go, he was going to quit.
And
it's a beautiful story. It really is
crazy.
But that's quite literally how a lot of these stories happen. And it's like sometimes the people who get the biggest and loudest voices are just like, and I don't get me wrong, I'm a Goggins fan. I like that David Goggins guy who's like he's an Army veteran who's like
Navy SEAL.
Who's going to carry the boats? He's just like F you, F this, F all that. And so it's not for everyone, but I'm just saying that type of motivation is what I would listen to when I was working out and it got me pumped up and the testosterone flying. But also I was like, that's not for me. I'm not interested in the Navy SEAls. Right. So, but anyways, that was a very long-winded way of just saying that. For the YouTube streamers and the kids are thinking about it. It could always happen. Try it, but 100% be working on something else in your life too at the same time.
The moral of the story is do what you like to do. Look at me. I'm doing part-time stuff, being funny online, but have a backup plan because you can't just blow off your 8th grade year because you want to play video games and record yourself and because you're going to have, a long road ahead.
Exactly. Which is why I also have a podcast and a marketing strategy company and merchandise and all this other stuff because I also know that this isn't going to last forever. So I have to try and have other streams of income so I can support my life. So, all right. Well,
that was deep.
That was, I try to be.
Great job.
I want to run through a wall now.
Oh, let's go.
You got me psyched up.
All right. I think this is a great time to transition to our So New England segment. A little bit of rapid fire here.
All right.
6 beautiful states here in New England. Can you rank them 1 through 6, favorite to least favorite?
Favorite would be Massachusetts, where I live and born and all that fun stuff. Oh boy. Okay, so second would probably be Maine because of the beaches.
Yep.
Stephen King, big fan of Stephen King. And then third would probably third and fourth might be Vermont, New Hampshire.
3, 4.
I like them both.
Doesn't hit the same as 6, 7.
No, not. I have to spend more time in New Hampshire. So New Hampshire 3rd, Vermont 4th. Sorry, 5th is Rhode Island. Sorry.
We take no offense.
That's okay.
We promise.
I don't even want to count Connecticut. I can't stamp. Someone said in my group chat today, it's just a concrete slab. That's Connecticut. I was like, yeah, with traffic.
Yeah, literally.
It has its moments, that's for sure.
I like Vermont because it's green. I don't know. I just think green.
Yeah. Everyone needs a little greenery in their life.
I was going to say, Vermont's hidden unless you know it. Like, people don't, and I think that's how Vermont likes it. It's kind of like those upper parts of Maine where they're like, yeah, we really appreciate what you're saying. Stay away.
Stay away.
Stay away.
Right.
Like from afar.
Yep.
Come and go.
I respect it.
Continuing with the rankings, you said you were a Dan Marino guy.
Yeah.
So you got to be into sports a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Can you rank our New England sports in no particular order? Ones you really like, all the way down.
All right. Are we counting
Teams?
The Revolution too?
Yeah. Throw the Revs in there, the Fleet, the Boston Cannons, any New England team that you like,
lacrosse.
Throw them in there.
All right. So we're going to go Patriots first, obviously. We're going to go Celtics second. I've fallen off with baseball as I got older. It's too slow for me. I'm still going to count the Red Sox. I'm still a fan.
was at the game last night when Durant hit the walk-off
that.
game.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. It's
Against the
baseball's
Yankees.
tough for me to watch. To sit through.
It was so boring up until the bottom of the top of the ninth when the Yankees tied the game.
Yeah.
Or they took the lead by 1, and then the Sox, I was like, okay, now I'm in. This is good. But the first 8 innings, I was like, oh, what a snooze fest. Outside of the 7.5 innings that oh gosh, what's the pitcher's
Sonny
name?
Gray. I got that text.
It was
Sonny
going.
Gray's dealing right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are we back?
He was. We are back like 10.5 games.
And then it went 2-2, right? It was 2-2, and then
Yeah.
I was like, we're out.
Yep.
I hate this team. Selling team. Bruins, not a huge hockey guy, but I do watch playoff hockey. I do like lacrosse. So Cannons, and then we're gonna have to put the Revolution in last.
All good.
They're all at the top
This
for
is
us.
an opinion
It's
piece.
title-
Probably the same.
At the end of the day, New England sports is where it's at. So
We're title
we're,
top, so we just have them all.
we're
It's true.
privileged to rank them.
It's true. Yeah.
All right. I don't know how well traveled you are across the U.S. or internationally for that matter, but if you could add another city, state, or let's say a geographical location to join us here in New England and the region, which one would it be? Some people have added entire countries. Some people have just added Florida, which is basically New England Junior.
Why would we add Florida? I don't know. That's tough. I don't want to add anybody. Do I have to add anybody? I kind of
If
like.
you don't want to, you
I
don't
like
have
our
to.
6 intimate little.
It's
states.
more because some people want to have certain types of weather, or they have certain entertainment and certain things going on. You know, you add Nevada, you get the Grand Canyon, right?
No.
Have I got that right?
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd add anybody. I mean, I don't want to add New York. Definitely.
No. Well, we wouldn't let you do that.
No, I'm trying to think because my mind works like everything's got to be connected. So I don't know if we go north. What's south of us? It's
Delaware.
it's Delaware. Delaware might be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Let's sneak Delaware in there. They got
Why
some
not?
history.
Put it right next
Honestly,
to right next to Rhode Island, and we still might not equal a single other state in the 2 smallest states in the U.S.
Didn't we? That's the second time Delaware's gotten picked.
Yes,
Or was it
super
Maryland
interesting.
that day?
They meant to say Maryland, but they said Delaware, and we just rocked
someone
with it.
actually picked
I'm
Delaware.
pretty sure.
Like,
Didn't
Was
he?
it?
Harris? Yeah.
Oh
'Cause he
my
was
God.
from there.
Yeah.
I would
That's too funny.
bring Delaware in.
All right.
I think that'd be kind of cool
We'll
because
take
I
it.
think they get forgotten. Joe
They do.
Biden's the only thing I know of from Delaware.
Yeah,
Like,
I didn't even know he was from Delaware. So there you
Yeah.
go.
There we
Yeah.
go.
And Delaware is actually technically smaller than Rhode Island, is it not?
Oh, you guys can beat up on them.
Yeah, that's it. Finally,
Finally.
someone we can beat up on.
That's nice.
You mentioned earlier a very nice little hint to some 80s Chevy Chase movies. How
Yeah.
you find your humor. With that being said, do you have a favorite New England influenced film or show?
You know, Cheers is always the one, but I never watched Cheers growing up. I don't know if it was something my parents didn't want me to watch, but it was, I never jumped on board with Cheers. Movies, let's think here. Oh, probably Jaws. Jaws
good
is
one.
really,
No one ever says Jaws. Is that our first Jaws, or did we get one before?
No, I think so.
That's our first Jaws.
Jaws is
Forgetting
like-
that is technically
because I love the
one.
Cape. And when you go to the Cape, no matter what, you're like, there's sharks out there.
Did you
Especially
see
if
the
you go to
video just
Nauset.
recently of the great white off the water here
Yeah.
eating on a whale?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, leash.
That thing was huge.
Yeah, it's a real thing. And
You got shocks.
Jaws is a classic. And the Cape, I know it's Nantucket or what is it? It's Nantucket, right?
Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard,
Yeah.
they're all there.
Yeah.
Sandwich.
I mean, it's Jaws. It's got to be. And I watched bonus points. I did watch Jaws at the drive-ins at Wellfleet a couple of years ago.
Oh dang,
you
that's
go. It was-
a big win right there.
Awesome. Yeah. So Jaws.
W's in the chat.
Yeah, W's in the chat. That's another thing I do mix in. I'll say something like, "Chat, during a lesson, I'll say, "Chat, am I cooked?" And they'll be like, "Why are you saying that, Mister? What do you do?" Like they get so angry.
That's so funny.
But yeah, Jaws. That's
Love
my
it.
answer.
How about something here in New England that you think is a little bit overrated, and then flip it, reverse it, something you think is a little bit underrated?
I think that, and this has been said, I'm sure, lobster rolls. I'm not a big lobster guy. Everybody, I'm gonna
It's
go
an acquired
lobster roll.
taste.
It's my father grew up as a like he's got a scuba license. My brother also, they scuba dive growing up out of Gloucester. So I got lobsters growing up a lot.
Yeah, a lot of
And I
good
was like,
lobsters outside of
I
Gloucester.
don't really I just don't like it, And I always said they were the cockroaches of the sea. And my mother gets angry because she loves her lobster. And I'm like, if you got to dip butter in it, is it really that good? Would you have it without butter?
I personally would, but the butter does make a huge difference.
You could put anything in butter. My toes, it tastes great. But
That's great.
it's no, lobster I think is sort of overrated and underrated. Oh geez, I don't know. We got a lot of good ice cream spots. You still doing the ice cream?
I am. It's all about like timing. I go to these places. I have probably 4 or 5 of them that are filmed and just like sitting in my camera roll. I just haven't edited the damn thing. Also, because I'm not typically someone who does voiceover content.
Yeah.
So anytime I edit stuff, I'm usually on the fly doing something and I'm not in the ideal place to do a voiceover because there's noise going on, people screaming, or if I'm like in the car or something like that, obviously not a good idea. So
I don't know. We got tons of ice cream spots. And I think it's people don't realize it. I just, as I get older, the more ice cream I eat, it's crazy.
yeah,
I used to never eat ice cream, and now I crush it. I love it.
ice cream is the best.
I love
That's how I feel. I've been
Underrated ice cream in New England.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to say this to the camera directly. Whoever started the trend of closing ice cream shops here in New England around August, September, a little way too early. Some of them go to October, but I want you to be open year round. Okay. And I'm willing to pay cash. So keep your doors open.
Yeah.
And stay open till like 9 or 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Come
And
on
it's
now.
like
8 o'clock's a little nuts.
8 o'clock is like some of us eat at 7 o'clock. You know what I mean?
And
I need my little sweet treat after
Some
that.
of us need to get out of the house around 8:30.
Right.
For that quick ice cream.
Hun, I'm going to grab something at the
Yeah.
grocery store and then you go sneak in a cone.
Not all of us can go out and smoke a cigarette. We got to go get an ice cream. And
That's it.
That's
I'm the same way. I just get the cone and I'm like,
yeah, big time. Nice sugar cone. Oh man, I'm gonna have to stop on the way home.
I was going to say, you're getting me going. I'm starting to get like hot and bothered here.
That's awesome. Do you have, going off that topic, do you have a favorite season in New England?
I do, and it's unlike everybody says fall, the leaves, but yeah, I can't do it. Can't do it. I go spring. I like spring.
Whoa, wait a minute.
It's crazy.
Spring.
People hate
That is
spring.
the hottest take that we've ever had. Spring in New England? Oh, wow. The school bell. Nice
No, it's
touch.
supposed to be a fire alarm.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it sounds like a school
I
bell
actually
to me.
was getting ready to take my headphones off. I love spring. It's
All 3 weeks of it?
Recently we've been getting crushed, but warm weather's coming. You can finally go outside with your shorts and be comfortable. You can run out to the car in your sandals, which you do anyway, no matter what.
Shout out Olakai.
And that just means summer's coming. And as a teacher, that's good. Now I like summer, but it can get really uncomfortable. So spring is like, I get to open the pool up and things like that. It's coming. It just means good things are coming.
This is like back-to-back takes where someone said that fall is not the best season. And both arguments have been pretty good.
Yeah, solid.
First one was like the winter's coming, and now you're like, well, the summer's on its way. So that means,
Fall, everything's dying.
yeah.
And my wife's
fair.
like, let's go look at the dead leaves. And I can't do that. Like,
Yeah. You got to pick up the dead leaves in your yard.
Oh, man.
It's the only time
I don't
it's
even
not-
want to talk about it. I hate fall. Football's the only good thing in fall.
Oh, I love it.
And Halloween's kind of cool, though. But
I love it. I love it. Love it. All right. If there was one sentence to sum up, and this will be your last question. If there's one sentence that could sum up a New Englander, what would it be?
oh, wow.
Or it could also be a single word.
New England. Ooh, how about seaside, ocean? I think we take it for granted that we have access to the ocean. As I've made friends throughout the United States, like you don't realize how many people are landlocked, and it's like, damn, you don't have an ocean. You can just drive half hour, hour or two, and go in the like on the beach. I mean, they have like not ponds, lakes and things like that. But for us, I think the ocean is really kind of sums up New England. I don't know. Seafood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great too, because those little nuances that make New England so special that people harp on from all over the country and sometimes out of country, like the Scots, is the fact that we have the seafood and we have these beaches and we have these like cute, quaint beach towns.
Exactly.
There's really not, I will say, I am a sucker for like a really cool coastal town. There's something unique and special about going in, getting a little hoodie when it's sunny out, but there's a breeze. You get an ice cream cone or a lobster roll, though you're not into it. No. Maybe we'll get you some clams or something.
Clam strips.
All right, we'll get you some clam strips. It's a very unique experience. Not everyone gets that. I don't know what the total, maybe you would know what the total number of states that don't have any ocean is.
I don't know.
It's got to be in like, I probably imagine like
It's
like
civics, not geography.
20 to 30s.
Put me on the spot here.
I thought you were a teacher. My fault.
I'm gonna get laid off now. Busy Googling over there.
This is what we got. This is what we got Vinny Chen's for. Come on, Chenzi. What do we got?
27.
27. Damn.
That's awful.
I almost said 37, so 27 would have been semi-close.
Imagine not having water.
That'd be awful.
No beach, like breeze. Like, oh man, the smell.
Except for low tide. Well, you might still have that.
I'll even take low tide over nothing.
Yeah, this is fair.
That's how you know you're close.
Did you know Nebraska is the only state that is triple landlocked? You have to go 3 states to find an ocean.
Yeah,
Jeez. Add Nebraska to the list of places I'm not interested in going.
Never.
Jesus, imagine visiting there. Oh my God.
How do you even, is there an airport there?
Vegas?
Nope.
No,
Cut that.
Yeah,
Definitely
well,
cut that.
This is why Vin's behind the camera.
We're gonna get this kid in my classroom. This guy. We're gonna get him. Back.
We're going to teach you where
Jesus.
Nebraska and Vegas are.
Close enough.
Sorry, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for making the trek down to Little Rhodey here and chatting it up with us. And it was really fun getting to know you more. Where can everyone find you?
I want to thank you guys for having me on, but I can't think of any other way that I would spend my first day of summer vacation than in the bowels of Providence.
Yes.
It's actually not bad.
You're welcome.
I actually like it here. You can find me Bottle Rocket, Instagram, at Bottle Rocket 13 and on YouTube at Bottle Rocket 13 and Facebook Bottle Rocket 13. I think I added the 13 because of Dan Marino back in the day, but yeah.
And where'd the Bottle Rocket name come from?
So about
one more question, I guess.
2007, final question. 2007, I just got an Xbox and I was like trying to get into like Xbox Live and I was like, I need a screen name. And I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan. And I had just watched Bottle Rocket with my friends and I'm like, screw it, Bottle Rocket. And then I was like, oh, screen name's been taken. So I added the 13 on there.
There you go.
And then it went from Xbox Live to Twitter and then from Twitter into everything else. So
Makes perfect sense.
Here I am.
I wasn't sure if there was a tie-in to the rocket, you know, in the classroom when you were a kid. And
nothing.
No.
No, Jesus.
What, too far?
I'm in trauma.
No, now we're sensitive to the jokes. Wow. All right. Well, thank you again. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude episode 91. Please try and remember, folks, life's better in New England.
In New England.
Red Sox crack and the Celtics fly.